Hello, this is How To, and on this edition I'm going to be showing you how to film birds up close. What I use is a window feeder. Now I'll stick some pictures of them on your screen now. What I like about these are the birds go to a fixed position so that you always know where they're going to be, so it's really easy to put the camera onto it. I find with hanging feeders it's a little bit more tricky because they can swing about in the wind or the birds can go high, low, whatever. But with a window feeder it's really easy because it's not very big, it's only about like yay big, and you can put the camera right on. Now what I use is a web camera, which is on the screen now. Now the way I use this is I simply tape it to the glass. This does leave a mark though, so I should warn you. If anyone can think of any tape that I can leave on the glass over several weeks or months without it leaving a mark, then I'd love to know about it, but I'm yet to find any. It does come off eventually, but anyway, you want to position your feeder at a good height. Now if it's too low near the windowsill, you'll have things like squirrels coming to feed from it, and they take all the food, and they cause a right racket and they're noisy and they're a bit of a pain. And where mine was, it had to jump down or fall down quite a long way. I'm surprised it didn't hurt itself, but kept coming back. I think there was 2 squirrels, as you can see. Also on this clip you'll see got magpies walking along. This is in June about 5 AM, and they'd tap on the glass and wake me up in the morning, so that was a bit of annoying. I actually ended up not putting any food out in June, and for several years now I've not done that because it's basically just they wake me up in the morning. Magpies have a long memory, so if they know the food's there one year, they know it's there the next year. Though that doesn't seem to be an issue any other time of the year. Camera is quite important. Make sure you've got a half decent one. Here you'll see some clips where the lighting is a bit bleached out. This is because the camera I'm using, this is quite an old clip you're looking at here, and the camera can't cope with certain angles of the sun shining on the lens, and it's not very good in low light either. So that's why you're getting it like that. Also that particular camera didn't have an inbuilt microphone. That's showing how old it is. So if I wanted sound I'd have to have a separate microphone. Modern cameras, all webcams now, they work in all lighting conditions. They have inbuilt microphones, so it's not an issue. You want to position the camera fairly close to the feeder, but not so close that it's going to be intrusive. You'll need a piece of software that can record with certain areas of detection zone, and you'll want a buffer as well. About 2 seconds is good enough. Otherwise, in the past what I had to do is I just recorded a really long clip, and then I'd have to like go for it bit by bit by bit by bit, and then basically to see if the bird had come in I'd like look to see if the food had been disturbed, and then I knew a bird had come in and I'd go back and then cut it out, and it's a very long laborious task. Then I started using software that had motion detection on it. Now the problem was with this, it would like just detects everything, and there was like no buffer, so basically I'd get like every tree moving, or suddenly the bird would just appear and then you see it feeding or fly away. Quite often I get lots of clips of the bird just flying away, which obviously is no good. So if you have the buffer, because the birds fly into camera shot quite quickly, so by the time the camera realises it's there and then starts filming, you know, you've already lost some of the footage. So you want the buffer to see the bird actually flying in to shot. So here's a couple of clips I've taken over the years. The older ones are lower quality, the newer ones are in HD. Obviously I'm using a better camera. When you put your food out initially, you probably won't get anything for the first week. It takes them about a week to realise that the food's there. So don't set your camera up straight away and expecting to get lots of footage, because you just won't. Put the food out, give the birds about a week. They'll realise the food is there about a week later, and then set the camera up Some days you will only get 1 or 2 hits. Other days you'll get a flurry of birds coming backwards and forwards all day long. I have noticed they don't generally feed every single day. Maybe they're going off to eat something else, like some insects or something, or maybe they've had their fill for that day. So don't get discouraged or disheartened if you put your window feeder out and then there's nothing coming straight away. It does take them, I find, generally about a week for the birds to realise it's there, and then once one bird learns it's there, then another one will, then another one will, and then eventually, if you leave the food out long enough, they'll all come. Several birds generally don't tend to go to the window feeder. Things like finches, woodpeckers, I get loads of those on my hanging feeders. I've never had one at my window feeder. Birds, I get loads on my window feeder. Things like robins, blue tits, they're the most common. Then a few other things like coal tits, great tits. I've had some magpies, which is the clip I showed you earlier. I've had pigeons, but I've not actually got any of them on film. And had a jay that would fly in quite a lot and take the seed, so that was quite good. That's on one of my older clips. I had a blackbird only recently. Normally blackbirds, if you know about birds, they're ground feeders, but obviously if there's an opportunity to get free food, they're going to take it. Like any other wild animal is going to take the opportunity. Always make sure the feeders are kept clean, whether they're table feeders, hanging feeders, because you don't want a dirty feeder. You actually don't want to kill off any birds like green finches. They die when they feed from dirty feeders, so make sure your feeders are cleaned. I might do another video on how to clean your bird feeder, because it's quite important, because they can get really minging, so make sure that's nice and clean. So I'm now going to just leave you with a few clips for some birds. While these are playing, let me just say about putting the feeder on the glass. Make sure your glass is completely clean first. Okay, any imperfections like dirt and stuff will cause the suckers not to stick properly, so make sure the glass is completely clean as you can get it. And then I find when you put the sucker on, make sure just run a drop of water around the sucker pad and then stick it to the glass like that, and then it will stay on nice and firmly. If the glass isn't completely clean when you've got the weight of the food in the feeder, if you have a big bird come along, it will just fall off, and depending on how high up you put it, I mean, my feeder is high enough that it will break when it hits the ground basically. So but now what I've learned, make sure the glass is clean, just a smear of water around the sucker, put it on, and then it should stay on there pretty much permanently. Just one more thing before I go. With peanuts, in the springtime, if you put them in an open feeder like you see in this video, make sure that they're all cut up or grinded or mashed up or whatever, because young fledglings will choke and die on large peanuts. So make sure they're either cut up finely or put them into a wire mesh hanger, so that's good. Also, fat syrup balls, while I'm thinking about it, don't get the ones with the nylon, or if you sometimes see them in nylon nets, or if you do buy them in them, take them out the nylon nets, because the bird's legs can get caught in the netting and they can break. So don't do that. So I never buy the ones with the nylon nets. I'm not really sure why they sell them, because it's a bad idea. And good quality food as well. The birds might be wild, but they're also really fussy. If you put cheap food out, what I find, if I put cheap food out, they won't go to it. Put good quality food out and then they eat it all up. So they might be wild, but they know what they like and they have expensive tastes. Anyway, so that's the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.